Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 28 of the 2022 Scrabble Players Championship live stream presented by Scrabble Go. I am Morris Greenberg, and I'm here with Chloe Fatsis. Chloe, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, this is a crazy situation we got going into this last round before the final top two are decided. If you want to explain a bit about the different situations that could come up here, take it away.
Yeah, I wish we had like a standings corner where I could move things like a Quackle corner. But basically, Michael Fagan is ahead of the field. He has one more win than both Ori Swift and Joey here. So if Joey wins here, so if Michael wins here, he's won the two finalists. If Joey wins here, he either needs to beat Michael by at least 107 points, or he wins and Ori Swift has to lose one board over. So, but we are off, so we'll talk about this more if there is a lull in the game. Michael drew his first set of letters.
Yeah, I think something like broth seems pretty good. Probit maybe.
Yeah, and that's what he's
it looks like
putting
he's
down
going
now.
for probit.
Yeah, and so we talked about the stream yesterday for all the stats fans out there. The stat stands, we'll call them. Probit is valid in Scrabble, but Logit is not for whatever reason. So there's always dictionary inconsistencies regardless of Collins or NWL. But Probit is a valid word, and Michael correctly finds it. It looks like Joey's setting up. I always mess up this pronunciation. I think it's Sonk or Sank. I always.
I think it's sank.
Sank. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in France right now, so I should know. But yeah, I think that's a nice play. It sets up an S hook, which is really nice holding on to an S, gets rid of his Q when there's really no other way to do that other than just playing QI, which is probably significantly worse. So yeah, I think that's a good move by Joey.
Yeah, so are you only guru-ish at Scrabble, Curie, Chloe, or do you have guru-ship, which is an actual valid word?
Oh my God, man, that's a crazy word. I guess I'd have to say I have guruship. I mean, can't sell myself short. But wow, I wonder. I have never seen that word. That's a really tough word to see. I think any word ending in ship, I have a really hard time anagramming. But it does look like Michael has gurus set up, but just making sanks, not even though the HI were in the right spot as well. Yeah, I think when you have two U's and you can't find guruship, it makes sense to get rid of the two U's, and I think that looks pretty solid. Also, taking out the S hook, but man, that would have been a crazy find.
Yeah, it would be a hilarious flex later in the game if Joey extends gurus to guruship to Michael, and then Michael has to think about it. So yeah, this will be interesting to watch that develop. But I mean, finding guruship is insanely hard. It seems like it could be a phony if you're not even 100% sure on it. So guru is really solid play. Gets rid of both U's there. Meanwhile, if you're Joey, it's funny that he plays the Q and then three U's are likely to be played on back-to-back turns without the Q at first. So what do you like here?
Yeah, I like Fuse, which Joey is putting down now. I think it scores well, gets rid of his U, holds on to one of his S's. I think that's what you want to do here. And Michael draws a blank, which is pretty big in this game. So I'm not seeing any bingos for him now, but he'll certainly be building towards one in the next couple turns.
Yeah, I feel like that's the common thing we always say when we see Michael on stream. Michael draws the blank, and hey, it's the Matt Kanika proof strategy. Just draw well, and you'll win the game. So
I didn't understand.
So we are continuing here with Michael. He's likely going to make a short play, maybe GHI and GI to the G in Gurus is an idea. What's jumping out at you?
Yeah, I think GHI looks good. Yeah, maybe Dig making Fused. I think Gi is probably a bit better. DEI blank is a really good leave. But yeah, nothing sort of stands out immediately as being amazing. Yeah, I think maybe GHI is nice to set up another bingo lane underneath it, which works well with his blank. As well, there's a couple spots to play something parallel fuse, either hooking the E on the bot going down or hooking the F and U going up. Or, ending in R and probits. So there's a couple options for bingos on this board as it stands, but always nice to open a new lane.
Yeah, so we'll sort of see how he approaches this turn. It looks like he's going to go on the other side, making fused and dig. Definitely a nice scoring idea. And HIE blank is also a pretty good leave. So definitely makes some sense there too. He might have been nervous also. Joey could go there.
Right. Yeah, when you see a play like fuse, you usually assume your opponent's keeping an S with that because it doesn't score amazingly well. Maybe Joey really had no other options, but I think I would infer that my opponent could or likely does have an S. So not wanting to open up a great bingo spot is one thing, though he did make an S hook with digs. So not sure how much that played into his decision.
Yeah, and Joey, is starting to get some synergistic tiles, but he plays Gov here for 14. I think he smartly deduces that Michael is getting close to a bingo, and so he's going to keep as bingo-friendly of tiles as possible to quickly respond back if Michael does indeed have a bingo available.
Yeah. I'm again not seeing one unless... Yeah, there could be something. But yeah, I think just something like Zig,
Really? You're a risk taker.
I don't know. Maybe not Zig. That gives back a lot of points.
I think
Grizz is probably the safer option.
Better.
Yeah, Grizz is the safer option there. Not giving back big plays on the triple with the Z and keeping a pretty somewhat comparable lead, if not a bit better. Probably comparable.
Yeah, so it looks like he has the RIZ set up aside, so maybe that will come down soon. Joey did pick up 2 vowels, which is always the risk with Gov, but yeah, he's definitely not out of it. I mean, he does in some ways catch a break that Michael can't score a ton with the Z here. So yeah, I guess we'll sort of see what happens. If he does play Grizz, Joey's likely going to play through that and dump some of his vowels. And it looks like Grizz is coming down now.
28.
Yeah, I wonder, do you play something like AI, being a little fishier but setting up some really big spots, or maybe something through Grizz like Ionize, which seems
104.
slightly safer, even though you're assuming from Joey's perspective that he might be building towards a bingo based on that last play of dig.
Yeah, I think Ionize has to be the play. AI is a bit too risky for my blood, at least.
Yeah, I think I would be uncomfortable with that as well.
Yeah, but that does give Michael the juicy D and R hooks, as well as an S hook. But there could definitely be some nice plays through Ionize or Ionized.
Yeah, and he does have Havard or Havard, I don't know how you say that, which I wouldn't put it past him to know. So definitely a chance we'll see a bingo here.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't arranged his rack towards that yet. I'm wondering if he just doesn't see it. He has overhard as well through the R in Probits. And I'm now just looking at Quackle. There is an awesome hardcover through the O in Probits and the R in Gurus.
Wow.
So those are the
beautiful
options. But yeah, it looks like he's not finding those bingos right now. It looks like he's thinking of Herd and Ionizer, which actually it's 50 points. I think not bingoing there and taking 50 points is great a lot of the time, especially if you don't see Havard or Havard. Yeah, I think I prefer that to Overhard, probably even.
Yeah, definitely the Overhard. I think Havard, it would be a bit too much of a sacrifice, but Overhard, yeah, scoring 50 points, holding on to the blank, even though it's with the V, it also takes out that big Ionize spot, or the spot to hook it. So, yeah.
So Herd is played here. I think it's a very solid idea if you don't see Havard and Joey. I mean, Ionizers is a play, so maybe he could do something there, like Codons. Oh no, Codons would be one spot above. I guess I miss. I thought it could play, but no. EO is not a word, and HD is not a word. So we'll see how he responds. It's He's now down basically a bingo, and he has to hope Michael doesn't have something like the blank. Unfortunately, Michael does have the blank from Joey's perspective. So it'll be interesting to see how Joey tries to play through this. I mean, he definitely has some scoring options with something like Codon, making Ho and N as well.
Yeah, the problem with Codon is it just really limits his options going forward. I mean, the board after Codon is not very conducive to bingoing or even scoring well. So I think even though it might be one of his better scoring plays, obviously Codon's hooking the S on that scores, I think 9 more. But sometimes you have to make those plays that kind of mess up the board, even though it doesn't work well with your game position.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I mean, Michael, we haven't seen him in a situation where he's had a blank for a lot of turns. He's been able to get bingos pretty quickly, and so I think he's making a quick play of Ivy here. Pretty natural play, but the board isn't that conducive to bingos right now. He could have a nice pull here, but we'll see how he deals with if he can't actually get his blank down for a bingo.
Yeah, and I think Joey here will probably do something like C, making ionizers, and DE. Gets rid of his duplicate E's and A's and S's, and scores probably better than anything else he can do.
Oh, God.
Yeah, or SAE, same thing.
Yeah, same idea.
So yeah, that seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so I think Michael might look here for a bit, but the G and M combo is a bit clunky.
Yeah, I wonder, something like Midge, scores pretty well for him, but it does blow up in these lanes, which of course, with, Midge making FE next to Fuse. So, holding the blank, you might want that, but also at a lead that he's at, you don't really want to do that. So it's kind of a tough decision to make because you're balancing your own desire to bingo versus your desire to not have Joey bingo.
Well, keep in mind, Midge does take the S front hook of Smidge, and Joey did just play an S. So
yeah, that does not seem like. I think you might do Midget instead.
I'd approve of that more too. Yeah, I think Midget seems a bit safer between the two. Of course, though, you are drawing 6 random tiles to your blank, so it's always nice if the blank's always the best of any tile to keep, but 6 random tiles could go really wrong.
Yeah, and Joey does draw a playable bingo. If it's not blocked, he'll have ateliers through the R of probe bits, or atelier. I don't know how you say it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so, and I doubt that spot's getting taken. Maybe Michael will decide to play some defense. He could play something like GIED underneath, but that doesn't seem super logical at this point.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. We'd have to check Michael for an earpiece to hear our awesome commentary. But it looks like so this is going to be key. Well, Michael plays Midget, so he does. I think that's the better move between Midget and Midge, given that Joey did just play an S.
This does give Joey some slightly better bingos. He can now play Ledius through the D. Just scores more points. Yeah, I think that's the main reason to play it. Sets up some 7th lines, but I don't think, Ateliers also would have given back a ton of 8th lanes, so that can't really be a big concern.
Yeah, so Ledius is coming down now, and that will give Joey a slight lead. I mean, this will be a key draw for him also. If he can draw the second blank, all of a sudden, Michael's early blank pick isn't that big of an advantage because it's lasted for so many turns.
Yeah, and I think this shows the importance of when you have the blank, finding those bingos earlier on instead of sort of just playing, thinking, okay, next turn I'll bingo, next turn I'll bingo. because even though Michael's been scoring, all of a sudden the game situation changes to where he's down a tiny bit. Whereas if he'd bingo earlier, he'd have this lead where Joey would still be playing catch up, and making different decisions board wise.
Yeah, and he still hasn't seen flowage, which should be pretty natural next to the L, right? Making L the two-letter word EL in Lediest. So flowage would be a pretty quick play, I think, if you do see it. So the fact that he isn't have that set up, I wonder if he's just not seeing it yet.
Yeah, he also has Flea Wart. But yeah, it looks like he's setting up Waft, maybe. Or Waft, I guess is probably what he's thinking. Yeah, Waft. Waft would be a little aggressive. Yeah, Waft seems pretty standard if there's no bingos. But I think, yeah, I would take my time here and keep running through the alphabet to think of what that blank could be to try to bingo. Because this is a really important spot to bingo, especially flowage would really do, it would block a lot of that top left area. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that does give Joey a very nice Besom, Besom, as an option, parallel to the A and F in Waft. Now, I think that would be a very cool play for Joey to play.
I wonder, I might do even though it scores really well, I might do something really defensive here, maybe like Abmo, I don't know how you say it, underneath Ledius.
Yeah.
Just block Abmo. Yeah. No letter goes on top of LO. So it would really limit Michael's bingo options. And knowing there's 2 blanks in the bag and the game is kind of tied up, you want to prevent these things from happening, especially when they would close down the board a lot. Even though it is a significant sacrifice in points.
Yeah, and Joey is thinking about a kind of in-between play here of Baith. It actually scores the most of all of them, and it blocks the L pretty nicely. He's playing it now. It scores 47, and it will be much harder for Michael to bingo just because an E cannot go after an L. LE is not a word, but EL is. And so it's going to be hard for Michael to bingo now on this board.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a good decision. It's nice to take those middle ground plays that aren't totally doing nothing for the board and still scoring well. So good call.
Yeah.
And yeah, now Michael has the J. He can play Joker or Juke, which score both pretty decently, and keep holding on to that blank.
Yeah, and so he's playing Joker pretty quickly.
Yeah, and looks like Joey picked up the other blank, which is really big, and the X.
Yeah, what a pull, man! What did he keep with that? LN, and he drew, or no, there were 3 tiles. So
yeah,
I forget the exact tiles.
He kept
LM.
Oh, did he not have an M?
He had an M.
Okay,
yeah, LOM or something.
Yeah, he kept LOM and drew EIX blank, I guess. Oh man, Ox would be pretty aggressive. I think something like Ox makes more sense here, not giving back any options and getting rid of the X, keeping a great lead for bingoing.
Yeah, so
EILM blank.
So I'd be thinking about Ox. So where Chloe's talking about Ox, maybe let's flip to the Quackle corner for a sec. So we could play Ox next to the J and the O in Joker, or we could play XI for 1 more point in the same area. So what I'd be considering here is which tile would I rather have in this situation, the I or the O? I think it's correct to play Ox just because the Y in Ivy is still available, so ILY words are available, and we can, if we flip back to the board, Ox is being played, but in a different area of the board.
Oh, yeah. That also seems pretty reasonable. Scores well. I might have chosen Ox in the other spot just to really cut off Michael's options for this turn, because now he can play Lore, which is just like a good play to get rid of some tiles. what was his other option there?
LOR, you're saying next. You're saying LOR next to
Yeah,
the J and the O and
yeah,
Joker. Yeah, yeah. So you could do lore or nor.
yeah. I think that
Uh,
seems.
yeah, those both seem very reasonable. Um, or I think they seem, yeah, they seem like the types of plays Michael will make. I mean, on this board, though, it's important to keep in mind there aren't really any bingo lanes except to the Y. So keeping an L there, I think, is a really good move, even though there are two L's unseen still from Michael's perspective. LY words are going to be probably his best bet for uh, bingos. So I would rather play Nor than lore there if I'm not going to open up the board. So right now, I think there are 21 unseen tiles from Michael's perspective. So that will mean that there are 14 in the bag. So this game is coming close to the end here. And Joey is kind of just as bingo prone as Michael is at this point. And Joey has the better bingo knowledge, especially why bingos are really tough to find. And Joey's lower probability word knowledge is pretty good. So, and they both have the L for LY words. So Michael really needs to think about how do I shape the board in a way that's friendly to my knowledge and my rack. But he's
Yeah,
gonna just block.
Michael plays a
Wow.
really smart play here. That no, yeah, yeah. So Noah SL in chat pointed this out. He's in this situation where Joey beating him by 107 points would be, I think, the only way. 107 or more points would be the only way he can't make the final. So preventing a big
Oh
bingo
my
by
god! I need
blocking
to.
the
I need to
Y looks
interrupt. Look
good.
what
But
Joey's
yeah,
placing.
that is amazing. My Legion, that is an amazing find, underlapping 4 tiles. That is great.
Yeah, wow. And so Joey is up 101 now by Michael making this blocky play. So, do you want me to repeat what you said, or do you want to repeat it? Because I totally interrupted you.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so the basic idea is Michael's up a game on both Ori Swift and Joey in the standings. Now, if Ori and Joey both win, and Michael will lose because Michael's playing Joey, they'll all have the same record. Ori already has more spread than Michael, but Joey has less spread. He has 214 fewer spread points right now. So Michael just needs to lose within 107 points to guarantee a spot in the finals here. So
yeah.
the play of Lori minimized the risk of that. Unfortunately, Joey finds an 88-point play that still now opens it up to that possibility because it's an 101-point game.
However, Michael does have Tenement available through the M in My Legion. It doesn't look like he's seen it yet. He's set up Tent on his rack. But there's got to be something through that I as well, I'd imagine. Maybe not. So,
yeah,
I think at this point,
sentient.
Michael really needs to. Yeah, sentient. Yeah. Yeah, at this point, Michael really needs to bingo now because next turn, Joey's going to make a play that can probably block almost all of the spots on the board to bingo. Yeah. So I think it looks like if he's seen Sentient, he will be getting a bingo down. It will be a close game. And then in that situation, Joey, in order to make the final, would need for Ori Swift to lose to Joe Edley in his game to secure his spot. And Joey still needs to win for that to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one thing to remember is we've seen Joey in the last game against Ori Swift. He lost, but he also played a phony word. And it really goes to show you in these sorts of situations close to the end of the tournament, not only does it change your status in one game and your chance to win in one game, but if he got a few extra spread points there, right, 20 more spread points or something, I wonder if that would make a difference in this situation in Michael's head and Joey's head, all that. Yeah, the points add up over time.
Yeah, it does make a big difference. And Joey's getting up mid-game. So Wonder what that's about. Oh, just getting some water.
Yeah, so Michael's going to take a lot of time here. I mean, this is this is to determine whether you play in the finals. So with only 3 in the bag, I think that's very
Yeah, and I
reasonable.
think sorry, it looks like he set up Renitent, someone pointed out, which would give back a pretty decent bingo lane immediately. So I think, though we know Joey's rack and we know he wouldn't have anything to play on either side of on top of paralleling the R and E of Renitent. From Michael's perspective, you want to minimize the chance of Joey being able to bingo next turn. So Tenement would be a pretty big improvement over that, both scoring more and preventing a lot of bingos from playing, I think.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. I mean, I don't think Joey could find some crazy 100-point win after Michael bingos, right?
Yeah, I think he's just going to need to look for any sort of win, in the hopes that Ori loses. I think that's probably the better course of action, but I've never been in this position of having a finals on the line, so that pressure has got to be tough in that calculation of, do I need to bank on another player losing, or should I go all in on me winning this game by the amount that I need to win it by, is really huge.
But Michael is laying down Sentient now. So that, I think, will guarantee him a spot in the finals, presuming that he designates the blank correctly. So we will see how Joey responds here. Michael draws the last 3 letters of P, A, and N. And yeah, for Joey, he just has to play the best game he can. He knows he's not going to catch Michael on spread, but he just has to hope Ori doesn't win against Joe Edley. And Joe has put up quite the fight of his own. You never want to count him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Joey does have some good scoring plays here. I don't think they'll get him back within range of that 100-point mark, but YEOW, which he has set up on his rack next to Jokers, will score pretty well. And yeah, he knows Michael's rack. The bag is empty, so I think that
36.
Oh, away is even better, I guess. Is that the top play?
Yeah, it is the top Crackle play. It scores 4 more points, and I think Michael will just end the game
Go out
here.
with Nap. Yeah, that is better.
Nap or Pan. He has options.
Yeah. So we really just need to figure out the result of this Ori and Joe Edley game. Because that is what this is all hinging on, to find out the second finalist. But yeah. Congratulations to Michael Fagan on being one of 2. Michael Fagan on being one of 2 finalists.
Yeah, congratulations to Michael for only losing by less than 107. No, Michael's played a great tournament so far. We're going to be looking forward to watching him tomorrow, and who knows, we might be able to watch Joey Krafchick too. In the meantime, well, actually, let's see if the players are going to talk at all for a few post-mortem, if we could zoom in onto their mics.
He beats Ori, I'm in.
Like this. So we go up to 19.
So it looks like Joey did walk away. So it looks like there isn't going to be any post-mortem here in classic Joey fashion. So in that case, let's instead, I guess, flip to the standings for NWL to see if Ori and Joe have finished. And
yeah, and I'm sure Joey is.
So it looks like
I'm sure Joey is checking out Ori's game as we speak to figure out who won that.
Yeah, so it looks like no games have been updated, except for we now see Joey does move up past Ori, but of course, if Ori wins the game, he will move up to first, actually. So it's definitely possible we'll see Joey again tomorrow. It all depends on if Ori does win against Joe Edley here. I guess could we also flip to the Collins standings quickly? So it looks like there have been no games updated yet, but you want to look at those top few boards to really determine who has a chance here. So really in Collins is kind of crazy. The top 3 boards all have people who could potentially make it to the finals. It really hinges on if those top 3 players win or if they lose here. Kind of crazy that even at game 28, there are so many people who could be a finalist. So in the meantime, though, I think we're just going to have to play the waiting game for all these results to come in, and I'm sure you can do that at home. Let's throw in some relevant links in the chat. We'll throw to the live coverage of this tournament. So I just posted that link there. Also, if you want to see pictures from the tournament, I don't know if you noticed, but towards the end of the game, you might have seen someone with a phone camera going up high and getting a pic of Joey and Michael at the board. That was Roger Coleman, the photographer on site, who's also a player. The NASPA Instagram page is posting all sorts of pictures. So that's there. And then I'm also just going to do our thank you message. Thanks again to Scrabble Go and Scopely for sponsoring this live stream. And we just got word that Ori Swift did win. So it looks like Joey, even though he played a great game and found Milesian, he will not play in the finals. We'll see an Ori Swift, Michael Fagan final tomorrow.
Wow. Congratulations to Ori and Michael. Yeah, both played super well this tournament and have done, just such great Scrabble to get here. So looking forward to watching that final tomorrow.
Yeah, it's always tough in that situation where Joey did everything he could to put himself in a position to win. And, 19-9 with plus in 1,000 spread puts you in really good shape in a lot of tournaments. And just happens to be there are 2 other 19s and 9s with even more spread. So it's definitely a bit sad for Joey, but hopefully he can keep a good attitude tomorrow morning and come in 3rd place. So how it's going to work tomorrow logistically. So if we could confirm what time games would start tomorrow, that would be great. So I'm just going to ask the tech team to confirm what time games will start tomorrow. I can relay that to chat here, but it will start later tomorrow. I forget if it's 10, 10:15, or 10:30. It's one of those. I'll let them figure it out. But basically how it's going to work is everyone who is not a finalist will play 3 more games tomorrow. The finalists are going to start playing later, at least an hour after other games start. And so their first round will be everyone else's second round, such that since the finals will be best 3 of 5 tomorrow, everyone in the tournament can at least watch one finals game. So it will be kind of a cool experience. I know when I did the Canadian Nationals before, there is a finals day, and it's a lot of fun to watch that after you've lost, and you can just sort of see really good players at the top of their game playing against each other. So all the players in the tournament will get to see that. So we just got word that it is 10:15 a.m. are when our finals will start tomorrow. And to be clear, we're only going to be showing the finals game. We're not going to show round 29 for the people out of contention. So tune in tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. It's going to be me again and Annette Oberstad. Before we sign off, though, Chloe, thanks so much for stepping in.
Yeah, it's been super fun to commentate the past couple days. Really great to watch some Scrabble and be involved with this tournament from afar. And I'm looking forward to watching the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we all are. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow.